Hey everybody, I'm live as John Hope Bryant, founder, chairman, and chief executive officer of Operation Hope, America's first and largest nonprofit financial services network for the poor, the working class, the struggling class, the teetering class, folks with too much month at the end of their money, people like you and me. Operation Hope has almost 3 million clients. We've invested through our partners more than $2 billion in low wealth and underserved communities, 30,000 Hope Corps volunteers, and we're opening 3 offices a week on average through our Project 5117 initiative to make smart cool so kids want to stay in school, to create young entrepreneurs and small business owners in the 4th grade through 12th grade genre, including internships, then shifting to 1,000 Hope Inside locations to get to 700 credit score. That's Project 5117. And we have orders for 425 Hope Inside locations to date in the last 2 years. And we are going to become the Starbucks of financial inclusion, community by community. Today I'm going to talk to you about 3 ways that you can get paid right now and build wealth a little later on, and is around tax time, so it's great timing. This is money for you and your family right now. Once you go to an Operation Hope a financial coach right now, go to operationhope.org, find a coach in your neighborhood, and go to them right now and get an appointment. It's all services are free. You hear that? Free, F-R-E-E. And based on an announcement I'm going to make here on this program tied to one of our partners and some of our friends, you can also go now to the Urban League for some of these services, the Center for Responsible Lending, NARAB, which is the Association for Real Estate Brokers, and some other folks doing some important things. I'm going to come to that in a minute. So let me now hit you with how you can get paid right now. No one watching this has too much money. You all have too much month at the end of your money. Here's point number 1. I asked Sir James, my assistant, to come in. I see you guys signing up. Asked Sir James to come in here to join me because I wanted to talk a little bit about the child tax credit. Jamie, just want to make sure I'm on my public page, right? I'm on my public page, yeah. not my. Okay, great. So okay, here we go, folks. Number 1, it's almost tax time. Earned income tax credit. 1 out of 4 Americans who qualify for EITC never ask for it. I'm going to repeat. 1 out of 4 Americans who qualify for earned income tax credit never ask for it. Never say, that's my money. Here's how easy it is. You come into a Hope Inside location. You ask for, you ask for services. We say, do you make less than $50,000 a year? You say yes. We say you're qualified for EITC. I'm going to make it even more simple for you. You make $28,000, $30,000 a year. You got 2 children. You work. The federal government owes you $4,000, give or take. And if you haven't filed for EITC ever, it's retroactive for 3 years. Boom. That's $12,000 in this one example. Somebody making $28,000 a year has never seen $12,000 at one time in their entire life with nobody's hands on it. So why are you going to a bank asking for a loan? Oh, you guys like that. Why are you begging anybody, asking for a loan or anything else, whether it's a bank or whether it's your cousin Susie, when you can give yourself the dignity and the civil rights assets that you absolutely deserve by simply filing for EITC? So 1 out of 4 Americans who qualify for EITC never ask for it. $10 billion goes back to the federal treasury every year because folks who qualify for EITC never ask for it. I want you to go, and that's because if you make less than $50,000 a year, you typically don't have a financial professional working for you. If you make more than $50,000 a year, you probably do, but you don't qualify for EITC. I'm telling you right now, you, your cousin, somebody in your family, I guarantee you qualifies for the Earned Income Tax Credit. Hey, Ebony Young, you qualify for EITC. I guarantee you. 1 out of 4 Americans who qualify for EITC never ask for the money. Now, if somebody's going to do, police brutality in your neighborhood, I guarantee you there's going to be a big protest against police brutality. I guarantee you there'll be a march against police brutality. But if I told you in your city, Detroit, Memphis, LA, wherever it happens to be, Hattiesburg, Mississippi, where I just came from, if I told you in your city that there was, $50 million for struggling and working class families, that is your money, and you've been robbed, denied your money, your cash, why are not there protests to go get your money? Why are there not oh yeah, exactly, you guys like that. Why is there not a press conference by civil rights leaders and community leaders and political leaders to stand up January 20th, February 20th, and April 15th to say, make sure you qualify for your EITC. Go and get your money. That money can be wired back to you within 30 days from the federal government. You heard me right. This is not a tax credit. This is cash. So there are about 12 million people in this country. There's about 12% of the country that's, I think it's unbanked, and about just 17%, I believe, is underbanked. I think those numbers are right. It's a lot of people. I think it's like 40 million people either have no bank account or are underbanked in this country. I can give you a lecture about getting a bank account all day and all night, but if you know somebody who's EITC qualified, the only way they're going to get that money is to open a bank account. So go to an operational office, get EITC qualified, open an account, and have that money wired into it. That is your money. Send your kid to college. Pay off your student loan or pay it down. Pay off your car note. I'm talking about financial freedom and less stress. Help to pay down your mortgage. Help to send your kid to that private school. Help to finance that small business that you want to start. Help to send your parents on that vacation you've always wanted them to have. Start an investment account and put some money aside so you're not living to pay your bills. The earning of tax credit is like venture capital for a working family. If you're an employer and you got people working for you who you pay them less than $50,000 a year, as an employer, you can give your employees a bonus for working. You give them a bonus. Sir James, make sure that my HR department at Operation Hope, make sure the payroll department that we are doing what I'm saying also. I know we give information. I want to make sure that we are almost demanding that people get their EITC. Yes. This is a bonus that your employer can give employees, and you don't even have to, it doesn't cost you as an employer, it doesn't cost you a dime. It comes through the employer, from the federal government. I'm going to repeat one more time. You go in this program, go ask your friend, you ever heard of EITC? If they make $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year, $20,000 a year, and they say, what are you talking about? Say, you're approved. You say, John Bryan said, you're approved. It's just that simple. Go get your money. I didn't say your money. I said your money. Y-O. Go get your money today. And by the way, you can amend your tax returns anytime during the year to get EITC. Go to an operational office if you like, and we can help you for free. There's also tax offices that the IRS has that you can go to get your taxes filed for free. This is one way to get you. This is number one way to get you some money. This is venture capital, add venture capital, love capital. This is your money. It's a credit for working. It's bipartisan. Republican and Democrats have all agreed on this, but they know in Washington that you're not going to claim 100% of your money. So they approve like $50 billion a year, but they know that $10 billion is coming back to the Treasury because you and me don't go and demand our civil rights. And so they get credit for offering the money to poor and working class folks, and they don't have to worry about paying it because they know that we're not going to ask. So the money goes back to the Treasury and they waste it on something for Congress or something in Washington. Fool them this year and go get your money. Point number 2, and I see Reginald, bring Hope Center to New Orleans. You speak sound financial advice, brother. Thank you, Reginald. We're coming to New Orleans, so not to worry. Jacksonville, Florida. I think we have an office there. Hello. Tina Purcell. Hello. Brandy Olivis. Hello. All right. Number 2. Yesterday, my assistant, Sir James Buchanan, who you saw in one of these videos, I think it was last week, a very popular video. Go check it out. Reminded me about the child tax credit. Now, this is a credit, but it comes off of your taxes. So for every child you have, and I'm not telling you to go have more children, by the way, but if you happen to have children before 2010 that were under 17, you qualify for a $1,000 credit per child, which then comes off the top of your taxes. This is not just for poor people. If you make $50,000 a year, you qualify. You make $75,000 a year, you qualify. You make up to $110,000 a year, you qualify. In fact, it doesn't have to be your children. It could be your children, your stepchildren, your boo-boo's kids that you're taking care of. It can be boo-boo's kids, right?
Nieces, nephews.
Nieces, nephews, cousins, folks sleeping on your couch. But somebody who's dropped their kids off at your house and said, I'll be back in a few years. If you're taking care of these kids and you're responsible, you can claim them legally under the child tax credit. So now you're going to get an EITC check. You're going to get a child tax bonus, and I think it's up to, 3 or 4 kids you can claim, right, Sir James?
Well, earned income credit.
No, not earned income tax credit. The child tax credit.
It's $1,000 per child. You can have 6 children.
Unfortunately, he said you can have 6 children and qualify for all 6 of them. I don't want you to have 6 kids and making $22,000 a year. You are going to be broke. I guarantee you. If you want to be broke, have a bunch of kids at 18 years old. You want to be broke for the rest of your life. I don't care how brilliant you are. Have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm tired of seeing 35-year-old grandmothers. This is a whole nother story, another video for another time. If you happen to be a 35-year-old grandmother, just do it right. But encourage your children not to have children, please. Please, life is tough enough. Please, and what wisdom can we give our child when we're a child ourselves? This is just common sense. Please, but if you happen to have the misfortune of getting pregnant early, fine. These are jewels that you've had. They're God's lights in the world, and you're raising them. You need all the help you can get. You got to like that. It was funny. You got to laugh at life. Otherwise, it'll drive you crazy. Laugh to keep them crying. You need all the support you can get. Go claim your child tax credit, and my Hope Inside locations can help you with that if you can't do it on your own. The third thing is Wells Fargo today. I was at an announcement today. They announced a let me get this number right, $60 billion commitment between now and 2027 to create 250,000 new African-American homeowners. This is a big deal. And it's from their mortgage unit, which was not involved with the crisis I'm sure you've heard about in the news. This mortgage unit actually is flawless, has no issues tied to that. And I know the people who run the mortgage unit, and they're good people. Brad Blackwell came today to make the presentation in Atlanta, and I know him. In fact, he was one of the only bankers that stood with me to warn banks about the global economic crisis in 2005, and all the other bankers laughed at us and dismissed us, and he and I went to the Federal Reserve to sound the alarm about what we thought was going to be a mortgage crisis. But well before anybody said there was a crisis, it was him and me and a guy named Bob Gnezna, who was then of the Greenlining Institute. As Brad Blackwell, I trust this man. He announced today a commitment of $60 billion from Wells Fargo to increase African-American homeownership, which has been going down for more than a decade in this country. They're going to consider extended income, translation. You can have other income in the household now considered in your mortgage application. Did you hear me? Not just your money, not just your wife or husband's money, but you're going to have other people in the household who are contributing to that household. Their income's considered. They're going to be more open-minded about credit issues. Now, if you got a 500 credit score, they're not giving you a loan. So don't go there looking for a handout. Or that loan will default, I guarantee you. You got to get your credit score up to a point where it is sustainable, 650 plus, before you start talking about this conference. But we can help you at Operation Hope to do that. I know the level that the bank will say yes. My Hope Inside counselors know that. There's a formula to this. You've got to understand the language of money. You've got to get the memo, and that's why I keep encouraging you to learn and get your silver rights. But back to the program. So they got this program at Wells Fargo that will be somewhat more flexible in their criteria, more progressive. They're funding home buyer education. Operation Hope has been one of the partners of that, but they're also funding NARAP, Home Free, I think there was, and the National Urban League, my man Mark Morial, who does good work, the Center for Nonprofit Lending. I think those are the 4 that I remember. They are funding those organizations to do broad-based outreach to make sure the word gets out. They're going to help, I think, with some down payment assistance. They're definitely going to help with new criteria for lending, but they want to really work, and then they've encouraged other lenders to join them in getting the home ownership rate up for black folks. Now, let me give you a couple pieces of wisdom today. The average net worth for black folks is $6,000. You can hear crickets in my office because people are about to pass out. Yeah, you heard that right. Not in Latin America or Zimbabwe, nothing wrong with Zimbabwe, but I'm talking about United States of America. The average net worth for black folks is $6,000, and our white counterparts are 10 times richer on average. And yes, some of that is historic discrimination and all that kind of stuff, but a lot of that also today is our financial illiteracy. We're just not taking this issue serious enough, and then when we get in a loan, we get into trouble because we don't have the cash reserves. We didn't get our earned income tax credit, which has given us a financial cushion. We didn't take advantage of things like the child tax credit. We just didn't do our homework. And oftentimes we buy too much house. And we buy houses in the wrong places at the wrong times. You wait till the market's going up. You go to a rich neighborhood, buy a house you can't afford, take out somebody who bought the house for nothing, pay off their hopes and dreams with your debt. You need to go to the hood, DA-HOOD, and buy a home that nobody else wants, that's centrally located. That's called an investment, people. Any inner city in America is going to go up in value ultimately, but there are certain areas that are on the move right now. Buy that house, rent it, and rehab it. Buy it, rent it, and sell it. Buy it, rent it, rehab it, and live in it, and watch the value go up. Buy the best house on the worst block, or buy the most amazing house on an aspirational block that has every other value is higher than yours. Don't go buy the most expensive house in a neighborhood you can't afford. You want a Folgers neighborhood, not a Starbucks neighborhood. To make it simple, if you work at the post office or you got some standard job, you don't want to be going someplace where they got Whole Foods on every corner, because that's out of your economic league and you're going to get clocked. You need to make sure you are appropriating your income for your place and your space. And the way you get incomes up in underserved neighborhoods is to have a lot of people like you buying houses. And when a lot of you are educated, which means you can sustain yourself and buy those houses, the values will go up because it's supply and demand. It's simple economics. And I'm not talking about black economics here. I'm talking about green economics. This is just good common sense. Okay. Yeah, Daniel said living beyond your means. Daniel Rodriguez, exactly. Don't do that. So the average net worth for black folks, $6,000. It's a little bit better for Latinos, but it's 10 times that, or white net worth. Same profile, same intelligence, nothing wrong with you. Same smart people, but didn't get your financial literacy and your civil rights, and did not have a financial cushion. And oftentimes we take these stupid mortgages, a reverse mortgage. That's nothing wrong with that, but that's really for somebody who's a senior citizen who's in the twilight of their life, and they basically are, well, that's a whole other topic. I'll do that later. But basically, that's not, if you're working today at 30, 40 years old, do not get a reverse mortgage. Adjustable rate mortgage, you really want a fixed rate if you can get it. What were these mortgages that were during the economic crisis? Horrible ones where the payments went up. Reverse amortization, negative amortization mortgages. Basically, you just pick a payment. You could say I want a payment at $500, $1,000, $1,500. Stupid, when the interest in mortgage was $1,100, which means if you pay a $500 payment, you're actually owing more tomorrow than you owed yesterday. You're owing more tomorrow than you owed yesterday when you're paying a negative amortization mortgage. You've got to get smart about your money. I like this Wells Fargo product. And they're not paying me to say this. They're not sponsoring this video. They were. I mean, I want them to sponsor videos. Okay, but if they're not sponsoring this one, this is just me telling you because I think this is the right thing. It's a good product based on what I know about it. It's a highly aspirational commitment, and I think you should take it seriously and look into it. And more importantly, or equally important, they're going to hire African American salespeople, marketers, mortgage professionals to take them from 31%. Minority, it actually may be 31% African American professionals in there that are doing mortgage loan sales, up to 35%. It's either African Americans or all minorities, but they want to go from 31%, let's just say minorities to be safe, to 35%. So there are, Anthony Jenkins said balloon payments. If you are a postman, you don't want a balloon payment on your mortgage. I can do a balloon payment because I know I've got some big payments coming at the same time, or 10 years later, or something, and I can schedule my balloon payment with a big payoff I got from an investment. But if you have an average income and a salary, you don't want a balloon payment. Thanks for that comment, Anthony. Back to the topic of the Wells Fargo commitment. They're committing to hire people that look like you to go in neighborhoods to represent the bank and you. Consider getting a job representing your neighborhood. Consider getting a job representing your neighborhood. Get paid to help your community, and look into whether this is a product for you. I'm not endorsing it because I don't know everything about it. I'm saying I think it makes a lot of sense, and I trust the people behind it. And this is the best kind of observation because at the moment, I'm not even a partner in this initiative, although I plan to be. Okay. All right. That's enough. Those are your 3 ways today Two ways to get paid, one way to build wealth. And the way to build wealth is home ownership. The number one way that black and brown people and minorities build wealth, most people in this country build wealth. Don't listen to anybody who says anything different. The number one way is home ownership. And responsible subprime lending before 2003 was actually the number one way that black folks and brown folks build wealth, enough money to send their kid to college, take some equity out, start a business, to buy another investment property. So subprime lending is actually not evil. It's irresponsible subprime lending, fraud-based subprime lending, investment-based subprime lending, pimping you, taking advantage of you. As Malcolm X said, got you bamboozled. Those are horrible things that happened really 2005 through 2009 for the most part. But responsible less than prime lending, most people are less than prime, subprime. So there's nothing wrong with that in and of itself. But you want to get as close to prime as possible. And what Wells Fargo is doing is trying to bring the criteria down, making it more rational. What Operation Hope is doing with thick file underwriting, copies of utility bills, copies of rent statements, copies of phone bills, trying to show that you have credit worthiness and build your credit score up and your confidence so that you can meet sort of in the middle. All right, become a homeowner. Buy in neighborhoods that are aspirational but undervalued. Often buy that shack and get your girlfriends together or your brothers, get your brothers together on the weekend and go to Home Depot or Lowe's, wherever, fix that place up and rent it and sell it or fix it and hold it. And they aren't growing any more land, people. Belford says he lost his home due to subprime lending. My respect to you. Okay, and pay your taxes if you're going to buy a house, because there's a lot of folks in Atlanta that are losing valuable homes because they just didn't pay their taxes. So I love you guys. You got your EITC, you have your child tax credit. Sir James, did I miss anything on the child tax credit?
Nope, covered everything.
And now you've got this $60 billion program going to 2027 from Wells Fargo, encouraging other lenders to do the same. I trust First Tennessee in Tennessee. I trust SunTrust here in Atlanta. There's some lenders I think that are responsible. You should find them in your neighborhood. Operation Hope is not selling anything to anybody. We're just your advocate, your private banker for the working class, the struggling middle class, the teetering. Well, for you. I'm out. I got to go to an event. This is Civil Rights, unbought, unbossed, and unbiased, coming to you straight and no chaser about your uplift. Civil rights is in the suites, not just the streets. It's about class and poverty, not race and the color line. I love you much. I'm out. I'll talk to you later. I'll respond on comments personally a little later. Oh, become a landlord. Alfred says become a landlord. Absolutely right. Jerry Wood says boss. I guess you mean become one. Keep up the efforts, Reginald Cryer says. Okay, thank you very much. Sending you love and light. Bye.